Guys, it's Adam, aka Marf. We're having some connection issues here, so if I go down, make sure to also head over to Marfoogle TV, where we'll have our live 2-hour show. I was going to update you on some of the most important stuff, and I would ask that you share this out with friends and family, since it is going to be a short, shareable video with all of the most important things. Also, just a quick point, if you are new here and you've never seen us before, we always make sure to provide a bibliography with all of our sources on marfooglenews.com. The link is right below in the description. That way you have a source for all of the information that I'm about to tell you. Again, and then if there is opinion, I try to clarify so. Thank you, everybody, for making it. Corey White, Kimber, Jammer, thank you for modding. Dex, thank you for modding. Great Lakes Reliance, thank you for being here. Dustin, everybody, hey, nice to see you guys. NATO urged to respond after Russia performed the blatant attack on U.S. drone. Obviously, more updates on this. Of course, now they are urging NATO to do something about it. Many of us looked at this event and said, well, if this is the Fantastic Freddy that's going to trigger something, the event to say we need to react, then this is a pretty bad one. Many of us saw it and said, whoa, this is a U.S. aircraft downed by Russia jets, and it was done on purpose. It did not have a person in it, so it's kind of perfect, right? It's a $32 million craft, so it was a big deal. It says dramatic footage of the crash, which occurred between a Russian fighter jet and a U.S. surveillance drone over the Black Sea on Tuesday, was released by the U.S. military's European Command. The video was recently declassified. So, oddly enough, it happened. It said that the two aircraft collided over the Black Sea on Tuesday, with the Russian jet striking the propeller of the U.S. drone. In a statement, the U.S. European Command said that Russian Su-27 fighter jets, quote, conducted an unsafe and unprofessional intercept of a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone that was operating in international airspace over the Black Sea. The camera on the drone shows its tail and rear-mounted propeller spinning before the approaching Russian Sukhoi Su-27 dumps fuel as it intercepts the U.S. drone. It says Mr. Elwood told the Daily Express that incredible incident is a reflection on how one local incident can escalate tensions and trigger a wider conflict. So first of all, the fact that this is a gentleman, Mr. Elwood said this, nobody wants that. For this kind of event to escalate this into a World War III scenario, or even a direct conflict between Russia, nobody, of course, wants that. But many of us that are watching this are, it seems like it's inevitable. But we're not waiting for, a Reaper drone to go down at the hands of Russia. We're waiting for a much bigger event, and we won't know who will really be behind this event. But as I've talked about it, it's like a pearl event, event like the Harbor that happened years and years and years ago that got us into WW2. That is unfortunate. People say, they're afraid of that. That's fear. But unfortunately, something like that would be needed to get us to switch over from a 58%, approval rating of what's going on over there to a 90% or 100%. And everybody's literally up in arms and enlisting and wanting to go to war. It said that, he added, this incident illustrates how drone warfare is altering the character of conflict. Russia would not have dumped fuel if the plane had been manned. It says, but this was a blatant attack over international airspace and should not pass without consequences. The drone has not yet been retrieved, and it is uncertain whether it will be recovered. As we talked about last night, they're supposed to have kind of a self-destruct mode if something like this with, sensitive technology is knocked down and they have time. The remote operators can actually go in and press a button and supposedly damage all of the, really, really high-tech stuff that they don't want the other side to get. We don't know exactly if that's what happened, but that's what they said was most likely done. And then Chinese companies are shipping rifles and body armor to Russia. Even if this is not happening, this is what the official narrative is now. Not only that, we have the next story, which we'll talk about in a second, which is a Chinese-made drone. Essentially, all of us kind of knew this was going to happen because they're no limits partners. Common sense tells you if they said right before this conflict, during this conflict, and from all of the actions of China, that of course they were going to jump in and help. They literally said that they are no limits partners. No limits means no limits. Whatever happens, they have Russia's back. Most likely because they're in cahoots, and this is all part of, a bigger plan. And this bigger plan could contain people above us and above every country that most likely was involved in previous events since 2019. It said that customs data obtained by Politico reveals direct shipments of Chinese assault rifles as well as drone shipments and body armor routed via Turkey and the UAE. It said that Chinese companies, including one connected to the government in Beijing, have sent Russian entities 1,000 assault rifles and other equipment that could be used for military purposes, including drone parts and body armor, according to trades and customs data. Is anyone surprised by this? I don't think so. As far as like them sending stuff, everybody knew this was going to happen, and it's going to happen even more. This is also why they are probably hoarding stuff in China. They are waiting for sanctions just like Russia. They're seeing Russia and what has happened to Russia. They have actually already preemptively stocked up on the things that would be sanctioned. If you actually look at how they are buying gold, how they are stocking wheat and corn and food and natural gas and everything else, it's pretty clear that they are preparing to do something that the entire world will, and I say entire world, that, Western countries are going to be very pissed at. That's just my opinion. Let me know what yours is down in the comments below or in the chat. China North Industries Group Corporation Limited, one of the country's largest state-owned defense contractors, sent the rifles in June to 2022 to a Russian company called Techrim that also does business with the Russian state and military. The CQA rifles, modeled off of the M16 but tagged as civilian hunting rifles in the data, have been reported to be used by paramilitary police in China and by armed forces in the Philippines to South Sudan and Paraguay. Russian entities also received 12 shipments of drone parts by Chinese companies, which brings us to our next story, which is the UKR Armed Forces shot down a Chinese-made Mugen 5 drone, or at least that's what they're saying. It says the wreckage of the downed drone was shown to journalists. Oddly enough, look at how they do that. They literally showed the journalist, they brought him and said, look at that, Chinese drone. So again, a lot of people are questioning, why. Obviously, you could say they're trying to show it because they're like, look, China's helping Russia, right? And of course, where does this come from? CNN, and identified the drone as a Mugen 5 manufactured by Mugen Limited, a Chinese company based in Xiamen on the east coast of China. These UAVs are known as Alibaba drones. Alibaba drones, really? And again, because they can be purchased up to $15,000 on Chinese online platforms, Alibaba and Taobao. So again, crazy. 15,000 sounds like a lot, but to take one of these things down, they're probably spending $500,000-$600,000 U.S. taxpayer dollars to send up a missile that would take this thing down. So it over time, if they keep making these and keep sending them over, and they have tens and tens of thousands sent over, it's going to cost a whole lot of money. So bottom line, whether you support this or not, it's probably gonna cost a whole lot of money to knock these things down. The company confirmed to CNN that it was their drone and called the incident deeply unfortunate. This is according to the journalists. On the night of Friday through Saturday, the security service of UKR informed that the UKR agents in the occupied territory had warned them that the UAV had been launched from there. After that, the SSU alerted military units based in eastern UKR near the city of Sloviansk. About 2 a.m., soldiers in the 111th Brigade of the Territorial Defenses Forces heard a drone overhead and saw a warning light flashing on the craft. The soldiers opened fire and took it down. So apparently with regular bang bang. And then one of the main pieces here, strange activity in a number of Russian ships in the Black Sea. We always track and watch all of the different activity that's going on with the world navies, especially right now, since we have drills going on all over the world, in the Arctic, in every sea you can name. And it says that UKR defenders have noted an atypical Russian activity in the Black Sea. Russians have deployed 20 ships and a large number of units of the auxiliary fleet ships there. Atypical activity of number of ships groups were recorded. There were currently 20 units in the Black Sea, including 4 missile carriers. One of them is underwater. The total salvo is 28 missiles that can be equipped for launch. It says also, according to Humanuk, many units of the auxiliary fleet were recorded at sea. All of the ships are scattered, so maybe the Russians want to find the wreckage of the American drone they talked about earlier. Humanuk noted that the occupiers are trying to cover the naval operations in the Black Sea as much as possible and are trying to hide their actions from the UKR defenders, but careful observation gives results, and the defenders see and understand Russia's steps ahead. So, not on top of this, you have to look at the big picture of what is going on in the seas right now. You had Russian ships tracked by the Royal Navy through the English Channel. You have Russian ships possibly off of the west coast that were peeping by. You had Russia go down to South Africa and actually drill with them, and they ended up joining and basically allying with Russia. You have everybody picking sides. You have U.S. Navy all over the world, and everything is buzzing. It's like if the world was, an apple with ants on it. You could see the ants everywhere. Everybody that is tracking all of the air traffic, the flight radar, said every single day there are weird events. There are planes disappearing. There's planes coming back on. There's tons of military activity right now. And at the same time as all of this is going on, there's all sorts of weird events that we've covered this week, like the FAA and all of these weird airspace closings, as far as now people are pointing out that the actual FAA office has no flags. It's got a wired fence around it and all sorts of other stuff. And then even yesterday in Forbes, they actually published that one of the main FAA officials said, yes, it is absolutely strange that we're having all of these near miss accidents. We're having derailments like Arizona. We're having events all over the place that are basically chopped up as an accident. But how many of these are accidents? How many of these are tit for tat events that we won't be told about for years? And then how many of them are ops by three-letter agencies that are trying to push things along? It really seems like they want to get us into World War III. And, many of us preppers are prepping for that just in case. Even if it's a 1% chance, I think people should be aware of it. And I think people should be following this stuff, even if if mainstream says the sky's blue, people are going to say it's red, which it's very sad that our media has gone so far downhill that if the media says something, then people are thinking the opposite. But just remember what that media says. And when they do telegraph things, they have telegraphed things before events happened. You also have to think about anything that is put in the mainstream media is then put in history books for, high school teenagers to write papers about 40 years later. So what they're putting in mainstream media is what's going to go down as history. So people should pay attention to it, because obviously if they're lying or if they're making up stuff, then people should be calling it out, and people should be talking with each other and put it on record that people question that. Otherwise, if there is no record of anybody questioning it, in 40 years from now, those high school teenagers will not see any dissent against the views that we all know are BS. So thank you guys. Thank you, Stephanie Colonis. Make sure to join us on our sister channel. Make sure to also go check out our website. We have different affiliates that help us. When you go and get products through us, you're helping our independent channel. At the same time, you are getting something really amazing out of it. I would check out the Flex 1500 and now the new Flex Tactical that was designed by the U.S. military. In fact, the Air Force Laboratory helped design that solar generator. It's one of the best, and again, you want something that's going to run in an SHTF situation. You can get a special discount through us. Go to marfoogle.com/energy, INERGY. That helps us out. Again, we would love to expand. We'd love to make this thing bigger. If you guys can help us get there, that would be wonderful. But most importantly, share this out. Make sure to like it. Put a comment down below. Say whatever. Say happy birthday to somebody you love. Whatever you want to put down there is fine by me. Thank you guys, and make sure to join us in a few minutes. In fact, we're going to set it for 7:45 and 15 minutes Pacific. So 10:45 Eastern over on our sister channel, Marfoogle TV. So make sure to join us. We have a full live show. We're going to go in depth to all of this, and you can find all of it at marfooglenews.com. Thank you guys, and thank you for the support there. It looks like a few people popped in. It looks like OG Stoner time. Thank you. VB Lisa, thank you. And if there was somebody at the very beginning, I can't go back that far. Thank you so much for your support. and I appreciate you guys. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.